different for Carson Wentz this year than last year. Expectations are very, very different. No one thought he was going to rule the world last year, and then he came in and he basically did it before he ended up getting hurt. How much different will this season be for Wentz after this team went and won the Super Bowl without him?
For Wentz and his mindset, it'll be no different. It'll be absolutely no different. And I know you're looking at me like, what? How?
Yeah, why?
The expectations for the team will be a little different because now you're the target instead of being the hunter. Like, you have the bullseye on your back. But for Carson Wentz, for him to not be a part of that playoff run, that push, in that Super Bowl game and leading that team, even though he was on the sideline, he played a huge role. He still has that hunger, that desire, that passion to give you everything you need for a guy that feels like, yeah, I was a part of it, but I didn't do it. So now with that mindset, with that psyche, you have your leader who still feels like, I got to get this done. Because personally, selfishly, he didn't get that done. He was a part of it, huge part of it. He was the reason why they were where they were, ranked in the position that they were in. The ones, absolutely. But without being able to complete the process, he's still going to have something he feels like I have to prove for not just everyone else, but for himself.
I don't doubt the hunger he'll have, and I don't doubt how hard he'll work and all those things. First of all, I don't think many football players, certainly not many guys that plays high-profile positions as a quarterback, even if he would have been in the Super Bowl last year, would look at it after year two, oh, I won a Super Bowl, and now I can relax. I don't think most guys do that, certainly not successful guys. What I do wonder, though, is, I don't want to use the word pressure, but I do think there is a level of expectation that he is dealing with this year that he was not dealing with going into last year. Last year, he had an up-and-down rookie season, but people, the top two quarterback everyone was criticizing was Jared Goff. People thought the Eagles were potentially a team on the come. They'd be better. Wentz had shown flashes, and then he bursts onto the scene, might be league MVP. To play that well and then get hurt and then also have your team win the Super Bowl without you, I feel like that is a heavy burden on, man, the people are going to think, if we don't get back there this year, the common denominator is me. Like, I'm the difference. Like, whether that's fair or not, if I were him, that's how I would feel.
I think that Carson Wentz, and I think the organization would do a good job of letting Carson Wentz know it's about the totality of the franchise, how talented this roster is. I mean, because let's not forget how they won. They won with defense. They won with getting after the quarterback, taking you out of your run game, really good special teams, and being able to get the ball to all the players. Now, Carson was involved in the game planning for all those games, and he saw that the team was still a good team, even though the quarterback struggled. The quarterback played 2 good games, basically 6 quarters.
Yeah.
The 2 quarters against Minnesota to start the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl. We can give him credit for that. But it wasn't like this offense took off. It wasn't like when Kurt Warner took over in St. Louis and then the offense took off. No, the offense went backwards. Let's not forget that. So he's not going to feel the pressure. I would think he'd be under different pressure if he wasn't a legitimate MVP candidate from last year. So he saw that there's no need to rush this. I can play this game. I got the support of the organization. They signed Darren Sproles to come back. Because I saw what Nick Foles did. Let me get the ball to these good players, and I think that that's what he's going to try to do, right?
Yes, with the general manager, Howie Roseman, has done an unbelievable job with making sure they have backups for the backups. Like, when you look at their depth chart, across the board, offense and defense, they have guys that can substitute and not lose anything.
Yeah.
This is what Carson Wentz is coming into. He just picked up a Mike Wallace this offseason to take the place of
Torrey Smith.
Of Torrey Smith.
Yep. Yes.
Like, in my opinion, better receiver right there. So you upgrade right there. And Doug Peterson, has done an unbelievable job all year last year. Frank Wright is the only question mark. You lose your offensive coordinator.
Yes.
But you still get somebody, Mike Groh, in the building who you have a relationship, a rapport with, who was a receiver coach last year. Now he's the OC. So there's expectation for, I think, the team now to do it again. But for Carson Wentz, no, I agree with you.
I think also because they added these players you mentioned in Mike Wallace, there's going to be a certain amount of hunger in these players. Also, they had a lot of frontline players, Jason Peters, Jordan Hicks. None of these players were in the Super Bowl either with Carson. So they have that same type of attitude. Yeah, I will be at the ring ceremony, but we didn't make the kind of contribution. So I think they have enough of those things to be able to keep their interest.
The other thing that Carson Wentz talked about was what kind of player he'd be when he came back. Now that he's been rehabbing for the last couple of months, is he going to change the kind of play that he does? He looked at that last play where he got hurt and said, maybe I wouldn't have gone for it as far as I did. He got to sort of weigh everything now, weigh what the team's expecting of you and weigh the kind of player that you're going to put out there. If you're Carson Wentz, either of you, how do you approach that?
I just believe that for the 16 years I played in the league, probably 13 of those years, I would watch the film and learn something instantly. So you're continuing to learn. And when you've never been in a situation before, everyone's like, oh, yeah, I would change. Well, as a player, once you see the film and once you know the reaction time is a little bit different, of course you change. That's how you get better. It's not that he's going to avoid running, but he realizes I put the franchise in jeopardy if I put my health in jeopardy.
That's the key right there. I think this play, this injury has shown him the importance of his position and what he can do to prohibit them from making sure that they have a future sustained with the quarterback play that he's given them.
It's why I hate, and you guys might hate my opinion on this, that on an interception in a regular season game. I don't want a quarterback trying to make the tackle.
I'm with you.
Like, there are certain things where you got to lose the battle to win the war. I know the competitive nature of you sometimes takes over. I get that. But the position is so disproportionately important. That play, I understand it was a big game that could decide home field advantage. It was also 1st and goal from the 3. Like, sometimes you have to live to fight another day.
But you're not thinking that way when you're on that field.
Now, are you talking about the play he made, or are you talking about throwing an interception, him going after interceptions, things like that?
Both things. On an interception in general, unless it's the playoffs, I don't want my quarterback chasing down the guy. I think he's too much in jeopardy. I want him staying healthy.
Well, we're all on this team together. If you damn threw it, you need to go get it.
Okay.
Okay? If you threw it, go chase him down. You the one threw it out there.
On that play, the 1st and goal, there are things, but I think it's hard. I'm sure it's hard in real time in the moment.
You threw it? Go chase it down. Greg, we'll see you a little bit later in the show. Let's end on a high note. Coming up, why have Joel